All right, stop all this. Stop all this. You know what time it is. Get the bar stools, get the cups, get the glasses, you know what I'm saying? Get the purse, you know. It's a bar fight. This one right here, I checked it out last night. I was going over it, just kind of having a couple phone conversations, discussing some dog business. You know how we do all the bulldog community and the future bulldoggers, you know what I'm saying? This was a huge debate. I think there was some key points that popped off. Of course, it's always going to strike nerves and different things. You got some people that they didn't really come for the debate. They just came to see, the person that they wanted to win the debate be victorious. Hey, salute everybody in the building. I see Dickie Foster in the building. Salute J83 in the building. You know what it is. We're trying to hit this algorithm, something bigger than, what this channel is originally for. We're trying to do bigger and better things, you dig? So let's hit that like button so we can get in the building. That helps the video the most, when you hit the like button. Def Chef in the building. Salute my brother. Barn Dog in the building. Salute. Lloyd Edward in the building. What up, brother? We all in here. He said, I told y'all that bitch is game. She came out on attack and she kept scratching. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I heard the beginning because people say that it was a landslide. I guess 90-minute debate. I think they had two breaks in there. So, it's always something. But at the beginning, I ain't gonna lie, I thought Donald Trump was holding his own and digging up some important stuff. At least he was saying the stuff that was important to me. Like, all of this stuff, some of the issues, you got to admit, if they don't affect you, or if it's not on your radar, I should say, I think every issue affects all of us in some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? But if that issue just doesn't resonate with you, you know what I'm saying, I can understand that. But wait, look it, we ain't gonna hold y'all, man. It's a pretty long debate. I got this link ready. If y'all want to come on up and spit your little piece, say what's up to the chat, all of that. Salute everybody. Hit the like button. We're gonna hit the algorithm today. That's what it is. So that's what we out. We out early trying to fish, and hopefully we can have a successful stream. But let's get into it. I try not to butcher it too much. Everything's fair use. It's educational purposes. There shouldn't be no copyright strikes or, any dumb shit coming back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is what it is, though. Let's get it.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock. That's what they'll be seeing. 2 minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for 2 candidates who have never met.
President Trump won the coin toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's now welcome the candidates to the stage. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
Kamala Harris.
Man, it looked like Trump was a little slow to come out the corner, man. What you got? Hey, hey, it looked like Trump was a little slow to come out the corner. Because I got to study body language, bro. I got to study body. Was he not going to shake her hand? She had to come all the way across the room, and no, and I get it. We don't study body language, right? See, it's a defense mechanism for me. I got to study a motherfucker's body language because that done saved my life plenty of times, right? So he was a little slow to scratch, bro. Let's, all the bulldoggers in the building, shake that like button. You know what it is, man. You know what it is. This is the hottest channel. You know, they look at even we got like 5 channels because the haters talk about us on their channel. You know, like we got 5 channels. We're working right now. Somebody is watching a video right now talking shit about Buck City or whatever. So, you know, let's get it. This guy came out the gate slow to scratch. What up, Bank? Salute to you. Jay in the building. What up? You know, hey, look at we roll up. We're going and roll up. We in the building. You know, this is where you're supposed to be. If you're scrolling up, flipping up, this is where you're supposed to be, man. Let's get it.
Let's have a good debate.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid. And I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the...
See, we got to stop this victim Olympic shit, man. You was raised as a middle class. So what? Is that bad? Is that bad? You know, or is this a shot at Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying? Because he was raised in a well-to-do family, you know what I'm saying? His dad or his mom or whoever thought enough about what the fucking future is going to be. So they put their child, we got to stop this shit. We got to stop this, man. So we supposed to feel sad. And you know, feel sad because you were raised in a middle-class family. Like, come on now. Let's bring it. We got to reel this shit in.
Middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing. And the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children.
So she's trying to appeal to the poor people. That's good. It's definitely, in my opinion, great to appeal to everybody, right? If you're a president of the United States, you know, that's a big job. So to appeal to everybody, that's good. So for the mamas that need to buy a crib, you know what I'm saying? You ain't going on buying nothing, you know what I'm saying? You can go to the local, you know, whatever, JC Penney or whatever the fuck and go get a crib, right?
Passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to startup small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's...
Yeah, I need a business guy to come in here and let me know what that means. $50,000 business credit and, you know what I'm saying, all of this shit. You know, for small businesses, listen, whoever wins, you guys better be opening up and setting up your LLCs. I'm going to just tell you that right now. You know, motherfuckers at the bottom, I don't care if you do lawn care. You know, I don't give a fuck if you selling bundles. You know, I seen a bride open up her fucking trunk, hella weaves and shit popped out and shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is crazy, man. So what is this $50,000 tax? I mean, you know what I'm saying? This business credit, and you know, I need to know. You know what I'm saying? The Bull of the Woods. What up, brother? Glad you can make it in, man. Hold up, Chef. Let me get that.
Economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales.
I mean, listen, let's stop talking about the $1 trillion that's in debt and all of this shit, because at this point, ain't nobody did shit really to bridge that gap. Now, I might be wrong, but I saw Donald Trump kind of attacking that problem right there. You know, those trillions of dollars, the deficit, you know, that we owe, all of this shit. I don't know if that gap is going to get closed in our lifetime. So don't get up here and talk shit about, you know, what another motherfucker's policy is going to do pertaining to that if you're not going to do anything to close that debt ceiling. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. I ain't going to cook too hard.
Tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies, his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries.
And listen, and what fucked me with this whole debate that I did not like is when Trump said that, first of all, that was a lie. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't do this, I didn't do that. She the look on her face from everything, but there was no rebuttal about it. There was nothing to say, well, actually, we're not lying. Evidence right here proves that you did this, this, and this, right? There was none of that. So when he said, first of all, that's not my stance. First of all, this is lies. This is fake news, all of this. I didn't hear any rebuttal about that. So me being a hood motherfucker that wakes up and talks about bulldogging on the internet, I ain't got time to focus on this bullshit. I don't know who's lying. To me, it looked like a bunch of lying motherfuckers up on the stage just trying to, like, what the fuck is this shit? Is it 3 lies you're out? Is it, you know, like, how do we measure this shit? Did motherfucker lied twice? You know, he's disqualified. Like, we got to set some type of boundary when it comes to, like, this is the person that you're going to elect for president. You can't elect a lying motherfucker. I'd rather elect a brutally honest person than a lying motherfucker, bro. Chicago Toxic Donut, what up, brother? What up, brother? Hey, we up in here early, man. Roll up that gas, whatever you smoking. I'm on some of this gumbo. The dude at the store said it was better than the pink runts. You know, he's like, yeah, 5 people came in here and they got this and, you know, all this shit, man. I was like, fuck it, bro. Let me get that. Cool, dude. You know, man, I get home. I roll this shit up. It's all right. I ain't gonna front. It's all right. But it ain't nothing like what dude was talking about, dog. I was like, bro, this dude worse than the bitches that be up in there fucking telling you to get some shit. It ain't that good, man. It's a wake and bake. Make sure you roll up. You know what I'm saying? Hit the like and subscribe button. That supports the channel the most. You feel me? We got to support the channel. This is that real talk. We definitely gonna be here in the wintertime. I woke up, it was raining like a motherfucker. So the season for this channel to start cooking is now. So get the like and subscribe button and let's get it.
Countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prison and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics. and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violent.
Okay, so now we're talking about this Venezuelan thing. So now it looks like I'm going to have to cover the Venezuelan gangsters coming into cities. I'm going to have to cover this. You see what I'm saying? Because I want to see the extent of this. What is going on? Is this how they do it? Is this how other countries do it? Do they really let their criminals out of prison and send them to America? Okay, is this true, or is this just some bullshit that they just dreamt up, right? I need to know, because if you lie to me, you know, you're going to lose my vote. That's all I'm saying.
These are the people that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again, and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us.
Let me know who won the debate. Put Trump in a 1 if Trump won. Put Kamala in a 1 if, or put T1 if Trump won. Put K1 if Kamala won. You know, I just want to have a, because I don't know. I don't know. I heard Trump cooking at the beginning, but you know, people, the way people were talking about it, it looked like he kind of faded off. You know, I don't know. I want to know who won this debate, because this is going to have a lot of real estate in the election, this debate. And I'm hearing that they're not going to have another debate. This might be the only one, right? So the key elements that they talked about, it wasn't that many topics, although they were definitely cooking. You know, I want to hear it. Okay, there's a lot of Trump ones in here. There's a K1. I see K1, Benjamin in the building. Ryan Bagwell, Trump won, Kamala lies. Yeah, because I just didn't hear any rebuttals about the false allegations. You know, it's like, okay, the accusations, right? There should be some rebuttal. Like, if you tell me, if I say something and you say, well, it wasn't this, this, and this, I'm not going to put a look on my face like a frowny little disgruntled look, right? That she was doing a lot and nobody looked at that, because I told you I study body language. It's a defense mechanism. So when you're twisting up your face and shit, and it's kind of like you're a prosecutor, so you should know how to, the courtroom, etiquette. You should know that you're not supposed to frown up your face, you know, all of this, because that looks bad on the jury. We're the jury, right? So all these Kamala won and all this, you know what I'm saying? Look, you know, I don't know, man. I think we got to break this down for what it is and find out and really open up our minds. You know, right now, I don't have a vote yet right now. As of today, I don't know who I want to win. It's not going to be based on my sexual orientation. It's not going to be based on my race, gender. Nothing has anything to do with this. I'm not going to vote for Kamala just because I want her to be the first female president. You know what I'm saying? We're not here for shock value. I'm here for those gas prices to go down, right? I'm here so that block of cheese isn't so goddamn high, okay? That's why I'm here, right? Why are used cars up 40%? That's why I'm here. You can't even go buy a $2,000 car anymore and whip around for a few months. Everybody's fucked up. When Trump was president, I'm not going to lie, there was a little bit of cake floating around. That's important if you're me, right? But I'm not going to be selfish. I'm going to look at the whole thing when they talk about abortion. That's huge. Let's cook, y'all. Hit the like and subscribe button. We should have 100 likes already. Let's go.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook a bunch.
Now, I know why it's fucked up. It's because they got motherfuckers that don't know what the fuck they're doing in office. I'll tell you that. It's Sandy Johnson. You know what I'm saying? And look at one thing good about this channel, I always drop that link. Right? And I'm on this vertical joint, so it might be a little difficult for you to to click the link. But I'm going to tell you, since you smart and you know about finances, then you know how to copy and paste that link up on the top of the screen. Put it in your search bar or your address bar, boom, and come right up and you can talk to us live, man. You can cuss me out. You can tell me whatever you want, man. The floor is open for the world, right? I want some Trump supporters to call in. I want some Kamala supporters to call in. Let's have this debate, or let's have an argument. That's better, right? Because we got thick skin here. We don't care what you say. There ain't nothing you could say to me that could affect anything, or what somebody in my own family ain't probably called me or talk shit about me, bro. You're talking to a real one right now. So hit the like button. Let's get it in and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subs. All right. We already at like 7,000 or something. 7,000. I'm trying to get to fucking 20,000 like before the month's over. Fuck it. Let's get it.
To lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you.
What separates us, though? Because you said that a few times. I need to know what separates us. That's what I would have asked her. What the fuck separates us? And why you hiding and chucking and jiving around the shit?
A minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic, and the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump.
I'm gonna tell you now. We talking about straight debate, right? She's smart. She's really smart. I know it's a lot of let's go Trump and you know what I'm saying, Michael Ambrose. Look, hey man, I wish you luck, man. Good luck. Good luck, everybody, in this election. One thing that's important, whether you're white, black, Asian, Mexican, you know, it doesn't matter, right? We are all one people. We need to know this. Let's not let race be the determining factor. Rather, if you sit around the round table or you do business with somebody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got their own view about life and the things that they grew up in, and everybody got their own issues, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Let's just face it. We all fucked up, bro. You know, we can't go look at those guys over there because they white. We can't do that. Now, we can understand some of the systemic shit that has gone on in the country and not turn a blind eye to bullshit. You know, there's a lot of random violence and, you know what I'm saying, against Asians and things. You know what I'm saying? That's important. They're a part of the fabric of the country also, right? So she's very smart because she's talking about Goldman Sachs. And, you know, some of these are some gurus, you know, when it comes to money and economy and, you know, things like that. So for her to have that in her arsenal, I think was clever. I'm not going to just say, all right, I'm voting for her, but I thought that was very clever.
Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
That's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great.
He went to the school. He went to the school, man. Listen, that's a dagger. That is a dagger, dog. What are we talking about right now, right? He said, yeah, she talked to these guys. She sat in a room, you know, all this smiling and shit, flicking your hair behind your ear and, you know, all of this bullshit. He went to the school, though. So which one are you going to listen to when it comes to finance? What has Kamala been able to establish as an individual that can show us that she can handle an economy and bring us back? Some people, I'm going to tell you, and it's no shot. It's some of you in the chat also, right? You don't have to have 5 people to get one of them that fits this description, right? Some people, no matter how much money you put in their hands, they're just going to fuck it off. Do you know people like that? Put a 1 in the chat if you know somebody in your family or somebody you went to high school with that no matter how much money they have, they just fuck it off. All right, let's continue.
Plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was.
Look at Kamala, bro. She just got like this sarcastic look on her face. Like, come with some facts. Is the economy fucked up? True, it is. Did it get more fucked up? You know, let's find out.
Was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response. I heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having, on the short end of the stick, in terms of workers' rights. But what
Hey, hit the like button, man. She's cooking a little bit, y'all. I know you guys don't like her. Some of y'all in the chat, she cooking, man. Hey, Wicked Kennels, appreciate you for pulling up, brother. Let me see a couple other ones. Michael St. John in the building. Let me get Def Chef in the building, man. What up, Def Chef?
What's good with you, man?
Man, talk to us, brother.
Okay. You know what gang leaders, politicians, responsible older siblings, role models, mentors, all these people just go down the line. You know one thing they have in common, bro, good or bad? Body language. When you was really out there like that and we would bump into each other, you know how I kind of determined what our interaction was going to be like? Your body language.
Right.
If your body language was a certain way, I know he ain't got no problem with me, but he's on high alert. There's not really a lot to say right now. If you're,
Right.
man, my nigga, bro, man, you've been looking out, man, you always, for whatever reason, he's feeling very secure. He's good right now. He's not concerned about nothing. Bro, this ain't a debate on facts. This a body language debate. See, you know this shit. You've always been that way. That was one of the things that I always liked about you as a youngster. You notice the body language, bro. You talking about he didn't come out scratching. Hey, man, you done seen a motherfucker just get on a nigga before? A nigga might come with the, okay, well, what we gonna figure out? This person already got how they come and figured out. You the one trying to figure out the math and the energy. Nah, it's up. She came out like Mike Tyson. You know Mike Tyson will come and duck and roll and just throw a haymaker just to say hello. That's why she met him at the corner. I'm going to meet you before you even get away from your podium. We know the standard is you got your half, I got my half. It's any game we play. What game we talking about? We talking about tetherball. We talking about air hockey. And air hockey and foosball, do I get to go over the line, bro, to establish anything? No, I don't, because there's rules to this shit. With this, bro, there's no rules to this. The rules are the rules I decide. Yeah, there's rules to the debate, but there's not rules to the interaction. Nigga, if she wanted to, she could have waited for him at his podium, bro. And we would have been like, oh, da, da, da. But it's like motherfuckers who understand body language say, that's an apex, that's an apex predator move. I'm not gonna meet you there. I'm gonna beat you there, man. Come on, bro. We come from this shit. We know what the moves are. So with us, ever since the inception of social media, how much do we really care about facts? We care about the way it looks, bro. We don't care about the way it is. We been gave that up. So whoever could present themselves as the best, at the way it appears, we see it all the time, bro. How many times have you watched a boxing match? You knowing and understanding boxing, you're all like, yo, how did this person? Because of the body language, because of the way it was presented. So what? None of these punches are landing. I'm pressing the fight. Yeah, I know Dr. Hood hit him twice as much, but Dr. Hood had to throw them punches. See, back in the day, it don't matter who was pressing who's landing the shots. Just because you're moving backward, that's a skill set, fighting backward. Nah, we don't look at it that way no more because everything is predetermined. We know who we want to win. We know that already, all the way to the point where you can't even tell people read anymore because, oh, why do you want me to read it? Are you a Trump supporter? Right?
Wow.
It's not the way it really is. It's the body language of it all. You're telling me to read Project 2025. You appear to be a Trump supporter. Nah, I know all you do is work with the youth and black families and you live and die by that. I don't give a fuck. It's voting time now. Anybody could get attacked. It don't gotta be
Well,
real.
he said the Project 25. It's not, that's not his shit though.
Now the thing is
So
this. That's why I wanted people to read it. Because the thing
right,
is that, first of all, you know me very well. I don't like none of these politicians because I know what it takes to get there. I know the truth. None of these are good people. None of them. But we got to pick one. All right, cool. We here. One thing I
right.
know, because I've done it before. I did it years ago. Hey, bro, for about a month, I just went on a smear campaign on Donald Trump. Everything I said was a lie. You know, not one person said substantiate that. When they knew it was a lie, you know what they said? Sounds about right. He probably did. They might just
Mm,
laugh, but there were some people who were sharing it and repeating it. And I said, yep, this is how this goes. If you say something that matches up to the character or to the body language, right? How many times we done thought a nigga was scary and that nigga's really a killer? But in
right.
front of y'all, I'm gonna act a little docile. It's cool. Think what you want. Watch me catch this nigga. Right? And the
Got
same
to
nigga
be
who
more
did it,
careful.
he'll be talking to us, talking about, oh man, that's fucked up. I wouldn't want to wish death on nobody. But you're looking at this dude's body language. And you're like, man, you're suspicious, but last time I seen you, you did tuck your tail. Nah, he never tucked his tail. He sold us a dream. Let me make Dr. Hood and Maine think that, man, I'm about to dust this boy off. He don't even know. We do the same thing in the politics and the street. That's how come politics and criminality, not because just because you in the streets don't mean criminal, but criminal behavior and politics, bro, is that shit like a husband and wife, bro?
Man, gotta be.
They butt heads. Husband and wives butt heads. Yo, my nigga, husband and wives are together, bro.
Right.
Husband and wives are together, baby. This is a circle of life. This is an ecosystem. So the sooner we understand that, this been a dog and pony show, man. Not to bring it up, bro, but I gotta do this because people be disrespecting my intelligence. What's up with my man's ear, bro? His hey, bro, feel shit. And you want me to think this is
Hey,
real, bro?
talk about it. Go
I'm
down that
supposed to
rabbit
think this is
hole.
real, right? Man, bro, this is a performance. It's all a performance. And a lot of us, we're not dealing with policy. We're just dealing with preference. And politics been that way too, right? A lot of people have voted for people in the past for different reasons because of charisma. Hey, man, look, bro, have you know them fine ass school teachers they be showing where people be complaining, oh, she's a distraction, she's improperly dressed. Man, let one of them chicks run for office and watch how many votes she get. And she said, and if she's intelligent, we're sold. There's gonna be women, hella women voting for her because they're gonna be like, well, I see myself in her. You might not nearly be nothing like her, but you still have the aspiration to be. And that's where your vote will come in. Man, come on, bro. We vote for what we aspire to be and what we aspire to see. And this is why the first thing a person say when they talking about money, well, I come from a middle class household, right? See, now when we talk about middle class, see, she's my age. She's older than me, but she's my age. Middle class back in my day was not like middle class now. So when you're speaking that language, you're saying that to young people who don't even really know what middle class is. If you in the middle class now, man, you're borderline in the trenches, bro. Now you was in the trenches back then because you had to be smart with your money, but at the same time, bro, your money wasn't scattered everywhere like now. Come on, bro. If you got 5 kids, you got 5 cell phone plans. Anything you talking about? Families ain't eating together no more. So how are these kids different meals? So money is scattered everywhere, and a dollar ain't what it was before. So she's speaking on how she grew up, but she's talking about middle class now. Like y'all said, scratching. Man, the above average middle class family is scraping, baby. They scratching. They gotta wake up going to get it. They wake up struggling. Man, bro, niggas back in the day, if you was middle class, you got woke up to a hug and breakfast and maybe a pep talk. Yeah, you might have had to get remixed because you didn't do something you were supposed to do. You didn't clean up the kitchen, but that was more so a teaching mechanism. And man, now, hey man, do you even have food in the kitchen? Do you get breakfast? Yeah, you right. Hey, change the battery, huh? You right. Hey, that's me. Hey, look, that's funny. I was talking about this shit yesterday on the show. I call that nigga shit. Hey, like, hey, man,
Hey,
look, it'd be funny.
I
It'd be
ran all the
funny.
way to the
Hey,
back.
all you motherfuckers in the comments, you could never come for me. You know why? I talk about myself. Before you speak on my list, I talk stuff. My nigga, I've already made jokes about that. I'm so content with who I am as a person. I know I'm a nigga. I've been said I need to change this battery. I probably gonna do it today just because you put it back on my mind. Hey, bro, I don't even be thinking about that shit.
Yeah, I ran all the way to the back and took unplugged the one in the back. I don't know if they could have heard that one way in the
Oh no,
back of
you
the house,
hey,
but
my shit's just chirping. My shit's
yeah. Hey man, salute everybody, man. I see Big Johnson in the building, Jeff Curry in the building, Juku in the building, Travis, Bank Statement, CS, Sandra Marshall, Base Ghost Coast to Coast. Let's get it. Yeah, I heard that shit, Chef. I heard it.
I'm gonna have to change it.
You got to just
Usually
take
I
the
have a
battery
bunch of
out
noise going on and it's not as
because
prevalent.
you won't
But
change it
hey,
unless you take the
see, and
battery out.
that's the good thing about them checks and balances. See, that type of shit don't offend a nigga. That's another thing I say about social media. What the problem be with social media, it's in front of an audience. So things that a motherfucker might just say to you, now you're offended. Oh, change your battery. Oh, nigga, man, bro, what the fuck I look like getting mad about that shit, bro?
Yeah, that shit's chirping. Your shit's chirping, brother.
Hey, man, that's how you know I got some good shit, though. Hey,
You
let me
said
blow.
what?
I bet you if I blow some blunt smoke on this joint, it light up.
You said that
It's
shit
still
gonna light
active
up.
now, but yeah, I'm gonna take this shit out though.
Let me see. Because Kamala was trying to cook, man. I ain't gonna stop her.
Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked
All right, niggas, I
President
took it
Xi
out.
for what look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often said that you were able to kill.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Oh, no, my bad, bro. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
Hey, well, abortion's next. So, I mean, there's women in the building. Look, I gotta
bro,
be fair.
What's just so funny is when you think about what's going on with immigration and just what's happening nationwide, it's just crazy how quick they switch from that. And it's all like, well, let's go to abortion. And I'm all like,
Well,
yeah, that's the
she don't
smartest
have no
thing to do.
rebuttal for a lot of shit. She was cooking, which means that tells me that she was well planned and she studied. But when you study too much, she didn't study for the rebuttals, the real rebuttals. You know, they probably tried to have an asshole in there to simulate Donald Trump. One thing about this asshole shit, you can't simulate that shit. That shit just flies.
Just bring some outspoken ass rude nigga and put him in front of you.
She should have
That's
just
all
hit a
you
blunt
need.
and went up in there, bro, and just popped her shit, dog. I'm telling you. That's the only way to get past Trump, bro, because he's chewing her on the shit that's important to me. Now, this abortion thing, that's why I want to drop that link, just in case some of the ladies at least give you the chance, because what they'll do is say, oh, yeah, these guys around here, and they're so not really going for Trump, but against women, right? And they don't let women call in and all. No, that's bullshit. I'm going to just drop it just in case, you know, there is somebody that wants to speak on this topic before we go in here, because I'm not that fluent with it. I just thought Kamala grazed over the fact that, you know, she went straight for the incest and the rape, the grape. You know, I don't want to say that on here, even though they can say whatever they want. You know, she went straight for that, and I think that's just the extra, like that's like worst case scenario type of situations, but we're talking about the woman that just wants to go to the club and fuck without a condom, and she couldn't
Bro.
get to a plan B's and you know all this bullshit. And she just want to delete the baby because dude don't want to fuck with her. You know what I'm saying?
And that's been one of my primary things with this subject, right? Abortion, because I love how we always go to the extreme. And I've even had women get irritated at me because I'll say, well, is that what happened with you? Especially if they know I know them, right? See, with me, if we gonna better this shit, we gotta be real about it. Man, let me tell you something, bro. I've done this shit before. I'm 50 years old. I still regret the shit, my nigga. And I'm talking about like I really feel some sort of way about it. Hey, bro, a nigga is so selfish. I fucking already had kids, bro.
Mm.
I could have manned up and gave that child an opportunity. We got people determining when people are people. Oh, you're just this. You're just a fetus. You don't really matter. Man, my nigga, who am I to determine that, bro? Now, I'm not talking worst case scenario. I'm talking about what we doing. I'm talking about what we
Man,
doing, right? The average child that's just disrespectful to their parents, they don't got abusive parents. They're just a disrespectful child. It's easy to say, look at the Menendez brothers. Look at all these dads who, but what are we talking about right now? Hey man, listen, I'm from the hood, and you know Seattle bitches is scandalous. Hey, bro, if there's any of them listening right now, how many of y'all to get your abortion, you lied and told your mom you got raped, and then later on you went back and told the truth? I could name 8 just off the dribble that you probably know them too. I would never do that. But growing up in my day, that was the rampant thing. Man, bro, I done heard niggas, moms and grandmas, my grandma's age, say, ain't nobody raped that girl. She think I'm stupid. But I'm gonna let her tell her story because I don't want her to think I don't care. Right? But I done
mm.
heard the women talk where motherfucker be like, man, ain't nothing happened to my granddaughter. Her little ass is fast. She just don't want to be responsible, or she just don't want to be honest. I would have still whatever. But I'm trying to get to, I know who it is. It's the one boy. I know the boy.
You know my issue
Tell me.
is nothing in there I heard about the men. There was nothing in there that included the fucking men. But we got to take so much fucking responsibility, which is fine, right? You sometimes we go to work and we don't want to, right?
Sometimes.
So it is called manning up, right? So now that we've done that, let's get to the, after these hundreds of years, let's get to the particulars, right? Men have no control over what goes on with the baby, no matter what. If she decides to have it, if we don't want it, she could still have it. If I want it, hey baby, you probably, she's 1 month pregnant. You went to the store, bought little baby shoes and all this shit. You done made a crib, and you know what I'm saying, and then she go delete the baby.
I've dealt with
No
that too.
repercussions. I should be able to take her ass to civil court. Nah, fuck that. You laughing?
Nah,
Nah,
I'm listen. It's the
fuck that.
it's the laugh. It's the laugh of I've been there before. Like, man, bro, I'm not disagreeing with you.
It ain't that deep. CVG, call in,
I'm
man.
not
You
disagreeing,
said it ain't
baby.
that deep. See, I was waiting on one of you. It ain't that deep, motherfuckers, bro. I was waiting on one of you motherfuckers, bro. Do you got kids, brother? You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know how it feels, bro. You
Man,
don't know how it feels, bro.
my thing with it,
Oh, he got kids.
my thing with it is that I just don't like the idea of trying to use a pregnancy as
Salute
a
to your
means
son,
to
brother.
say, oh,
Salute.
what am I gonna do with my life? Man, you gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. All you gotta do all you gotta do is do what you're
He said he
supposed to
got
do. I've never
Darian
seen
White.
anybody.
Darian White. See, I gotta speak for people that like Darian White. He has 4 kids. It's deep as shit.
Man, come on,
That's
bro.
what
It's
he
the deepest
said.
shit you can imagine.
It's deep as shit, bro. We don't have no say so as men. That's fucked up. This woman can have the kid if I don't want it, right? But if I do want it, she could delete it. And then when the baby gets here, she could put me on child support, even if the kid's not mine. Let's stop this shit, dog. Let's
See,
stop this.
that's another
We got to stop this shit. What's the debate about that? See, that's who's
brother.
gonna
Now
win
you
this
know
shit.
damn well that's why Dr. Hood is here. We can't. No one's gonna talk about no candidate. Nah,
Trump lost the debate,
this is
man.
an in-house conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna get flagged for talking like this. I want to know where's the rights at? Let's kill. All right, since you want to kill everything else, let's kill child support then. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm throwing it out there, man.
See here,
Oh,
okay.
well,
All right, wait. So the child support thing, me and you both know child support is an extortion system, right? Because there's taking care of your kids. That's not child support. Child support, you send it in and it gets delegated. Taking care of your kids is something you and your woman or you and the woman just decide and do. Oh, she needs her
right.
hair done. It's curriculum night. The boys want pizza. Can you send some bread? See, that's just taking care of them. Child support is there's a lump sum. It gets sent in, it gets processed, you get credit for it. They take a handler's fee. Man, come on, bro. You know this, brother. You know you've broke it down before. Very eloquently. Man, you know what child support is, bro. So I just have to put that out there. When we're talking about child support, that's a whole nother thing than taking care of the kid. I know, hey, that a lot of dudes taking care of the kid, they're paying way more than they would in child support. But
Yeah,
you ain't
no,
in that
definitely.
system though. And that's the trick bag right there. It's the systemic part of child support. That it's
But a
not
woman could
taking
be a
care of them.
serial. She could be serial. Like I don't even know the word for it. Maybe somebody in the chat could give me a word for it. A serial. It's not a serial killer, but she's a serial child support getter. She's a serial child support recipient.
Yeah.
Bro,
Nah,
bro,
I
what are we
know, bro.
talking about?
I know, bro.
What are we talking about right now? We got women out here that go, they prey on NBA dudes, right? This would be your
Yeah.
4th guy on the top 100 billboards or Grammy nominee or something that you just got this baby when you just extrapolating all these resources from these dudes, bro. I feel sorry for a guy like that. I feel sorry, man. A serial child support scammer. Serial, not one time, not 2 times. We got women that do this shit 3, 4 times. You know, and there's no
Man.
protection for the man. There's no protection. They could just go out and fuck anybody the fuck they want because they don't need our provision. They don't need to be they don't need our protection, right?
I mean,
Child support will come get your ass. I don't have to acquiesce to what this man wants me to do, right? I don't have to be a good woman. I can cuss him out every fucking day. Fuck him. And he has to be here. He has to be the man, or he's looked at as the low of society. So
But see,
Fuck
this is
that.
why I say there's no such thing as equality. You got the roles of a man, you got the roles of a woman, and there's just some things that come with being a man. It can be a thankless job, bro. It can be. Just being a man in general, we're not even talking about all the extra shit, all the extra titles, just being a man in American general society, not just American society. It could be a rough deal, you know. And like you just said, this is something that's systemic, like it's promoted. This is one of the primary things that make the internet go, you know, attacking the existence of just men in general. There's men who have built brands off of, okay, you can't beat them, join them. I know I'm a man, but here's where the bread is. I'm gonna attack men as well. Man, you know, niggas is doing what they gotta do, bro. I don't like it, but we here, bro.
John Kramer, Big Saul, what up, brother? With the membership. Hey, he said these bitches can put you on child support and they give you a court date a year later, and your child support is up at 10,000
Yeah,
before you even have a court date.
yeah, yeah.
Why isn't this getting talked about?
You want them to talk about it during the presidential debate?
No, I want the child support and all of it. Like if they're gonna talk about abortion, women, you want a woman to have the choice, and she always want to go to what fucked me is because she always wanted to just go straight to the extraneous measurements, right? Like,
Right.
okay, worst case scenario, 12, she said a 12-year-old has incest. She doesn't want that. You know, like she would, Kamala, you don't want that. She doesn't even have kids. And I'm not saying a 12-year-old will want that or a woman that gets violated should want that. You know, but I'm saying, can we come back to the middle ground and not be so fucking just far gone with the conversation, and let's just talk about it from a regular perspective, right? Us men, we don't have no control over nothing. If it's left up to a woman, I will never have a child in my life. That's the right that they're giving these women. So these women have the choice to make me fatherless. You know, no matter how much consensual sex it is or unprotected sex it is, right? So nah, I'm not with that.
Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course, said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, is doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exception, rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did it also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump
Health care. Why does she try to soften it up? They're not performing health care. They're deleting a fucking baby, man. And nobody was against those 2 exceptions to where, or 3 exceptions, health care, health, incest, grape. Nobody is against that. Neither side is against those exceptions. I'm from the Black community. They're aborting 2,000 babies a day in the Black community. I don't know about the other communities.
You want to know one of my primary problems with this conversation?
What?
Chickens and dogs, bro. Right? See, it's complete. Now, you could be a humanitarian or a naturalist, whatever you talking about. And it's completely okay to slaughter chickens. You can't do anything to a dog. Dogs have too much value. Oh, chickens, they're just to be ate, right? So when a kid is a fetus, they're kind of like a chicken. They could go, right? Imagine what they would say about me if cats found out I was terminating prenatal dogs. Like, the dog isn't ready to be born, but I don't want to deal with these puppies. What would they say I should do with the dog? Right? This is what they would say. Oh, I would get blamed. I would be the worst person in the world, but I could do whatever with some chickens. I could take some chicks, chop them up, turn them into nuggets, and sell them all to McDonald's and Wendy's and do all that. But when we dealing with something of a little bit of a higher value, now there's a concern. See, there's a huge difference in a termination of a person and an abortion. Okay, we understand the English language. We deal with definitions. Pull up an abortion and pull up a termination, and then tell me the difference between the two.
Right.
We speak about abortion like we're fucking frying chicken. You know how you go to your aunt's, it's the goddamn family reunion, you down there in Crosby, Mississippi, you just somewhere you would never be.
Right.
Right. And they're on the farm and go get this chicken. They done had you playing with the chicken. But the thing is that that's food. Well, the dog now, The dog is part of the family. So
Right.
for a kid to be part of the family, it's not at pregnancy because you have no worth. You know, oh yeah, but now we can't do this. Oh, well, we could give you up. See, they're making a system of irresponsibility. Right? They're just making a system of irresponsibility. And the good thing about being wrong, I could always go back and get it right. Wherever I was wrong, that's where I was wrong. But I'm not going to try to make being wrong right. Hey, bro, I shouldn't have the right to make that type of decision, right? Because, see, if I'm making that decision, clearly I was dealing with somebody, right? We always want to go to the rape thing. Man, what about those of us you just don't want to man up or woman up? You just don't want to handle your business. You just don't want to be responsible. Hey man, you might be terminating who could be who could fix this problem. These problems we dealing with, you might have just terminated the person who could fix them because and for what? Because you want freedom. Right? See, cats always make it about a whole bunch of deep shit. Nah, what it be? It be shit like this. I already got two. This'll make the third. I'm only 25 years old. How's that gonna look? It's very selfish, bro. And we try to make it seem like, oh, uh, and I got this career. Man, if you're so concerned about your career, what you doing fucking? Right now, I'm working on a whole bunch of projects and shit. Hey, bro, to be honest with you, I just don't have a lot of time to entertain nothing. I'm definitely not doing all that right now because my day to day consists of my work. If your day to day, if your work was that important, you wouldn't have been getting pregnant. That's the reality of it. So we gotta dial it back because it's so I don't know the percentages. I do know this. All the girls who I knew growing up, coming up pregnant, man, you wasn't getting raped, my nigga. That's not that you're not terminating. These aren't rape pregnancy terminations. Those are just talking points to be right. But we never address the people who use abortion as birth control.
Yeah. You know.
And then when you find the person you want to do it with, now all of a sudden you're not worried about that,
Well, they
right?
deleting
A
babies just because
motherfucker,
he's broke. Like, oh
huh?
no, he's broke. You know, if it's a rich guy, she gonna keep it. There ain't that many girls just running around deleting rich dudes' babies, right? So you basing it off a pocket, what a motherfucker got in their pocket. A lot of times, you know, oh he's broke. I'm gonna delete this baby. You know, he can't take care of it, but he could spread your legs open. You could be unprotected. Like if the guy's not a good enough guy, why are you fucking him? That's my thing. I think it'll make women a little bit more responsible, you know, since they never want to take no accountability. And I didn't want to turn this into no woman thing. I didn't.
Nah, but that's what it is, bro. What you think abortion got brought up for? Like this is the whole weaponism of it. Think about this, bro. If I'm a presidential candidate, do you think I care what you understand? Do you think I care about your literacy level or anything? I'm here for the vote. Bro, while the debate was going on, you know I was getting texts from the Democrats saying Trump is up there spewing lies. Donate now. Why the fuck are you asking me for money while this debate is going on? Why are you contacting me now? Imagine you at parent teacher conference and I'm at the window knocking on it. Hood, Doc Hood, you're gonna be like, bro, are you serious right now? But I want what I want from you. See, last night, if you was really in tune, that was politics in a nutshell. Everything that was talked about was meant to gaslight you. But there's no real solutions. That's
Yeah.
not what we're here for. I care about the vote. And we all know a majority of what's talked about whoever gets in where they get in, they're going to forget. They're going to move forward. Remember a few years ago, motherfuckers said, we're going to eradicate systemic racism. And I said, man, you know what? Now you just saying shit to like get people emotional. Right? For a black person, you're gonna eliminate systemic racism. You got my vote. Black people still complaining about racism. Black people still suing the company they work for. Black people still getting railroaded, still getting redlined. See, that's systemic racism. You guys you haven't even passed a crime bill or an anti-black, anti-hate black, like you don't even have any of that. How you going to eliminate the system of racism? Well, we just wanted your vote. And then they disappear for years. Then
Hey,
they
I gotta
pop back
stop.
up.
I gotta pause. I gotta pause, man. It's Donald J. Plump, dude. He said 27% of black men are active fathers to their
Yeah, he's a
babies.
troll. He's a troll.
That's a motherfucking lie.
He's a troll, bro. I'm not addressing him, bro.
No, I am, because I
Okay, you
want
got
people
it.
to know, like, that's a motherfucking lie. You feel me? I don't think there's no race that is that low of active fathers in the community. Like, if you want to come up, you want to hit the button, you know what I'm saying? But that, we need to know these statistics. That's a damn lie. They actually said black fathers are the most active for the fathers that are not in the home. So for us not to be in the home, we're still active in our kids' life. All right. Now, those other races, you can look at the numbers, it's a little bit lower, to more the extent, like, if he's not with the woman, he's not even fucking with the kid at all. You know what I'm saying? So those are the real statistics that you need to know. Yeah, we addressing the
You know
trolls.
what? Since we here, let's talk about it. We all know a bunch of these white dudes marry, so it appears a certain way, right? It appears a certain way. But just because you live there with the kid don't mean you interact with them. Yeah, cool, you married. That doesn't mean you interact with the kid. So what a bunch of these white dudes want to do, they want to get the props for, oh, well, I'm present. Well, yeah, you're married to the mother. But we could pull up a bunch of stories right now of white dudes who say, oh, well, yeah, my parents were married, but they wasn't really there like that. Well, my mom did it, but my dad, he was always away on business. He was always at work. Man, a white dude will marry and just always be busy. And then be like, well, I'm an active father. Yep, I send him to military school. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. That's why I'm ignoring that dude, that Donald Plump dude, because you just came up here to
Donald
be
Plump,
big
hit the
headed.
like button. Donald Plump, hit the
We've never
subscribe.
seen you before, bro. You've never been over here.
We need trolls. We need trolls. I invite them to come back, keep trolling, keep it going, because it's going to be some different topics. You pull up, and then when you grow some nuts, then you can actually hit that button and come up and talk like a man. You know what I'm saying? This is the Shark Tank up here. So when you hit that button, just be ready. You feel me?
Hey,
Anything
NWA
goes.
Kane Corsos, he just put up an article. Now listen at this. ABC10.com. Now we
What you
all
say? That's
know.
my guy, NWA.
We all know ABC does not like black men. But this is an article saying race and culture, black dads more
Yeah,
involved in children's lives than any
yeah,
other group.
yeah.
See?
That's a fact. Hey, you guys go subscribe to NWA Kane Corsos. He got a good channel, man. They talk about dogs and different breeds and stuff. So if you're ever into that, somebody who's a dog lover, hit the subscribe on this channel, hit the subscribe over there. We all support each other, man, over here. That's what we do. You feel me?
Shut up, Patricia. Just because
These
I said,
blue
wait, hold
moderators
up.
and stuff in the chat,
Shut up,
it's not
bitch.
just a
Just
joke.
because I said white dude, I call a black dude. You wasn't calling me racist when I was up here saying, nigga, get your goofy ass off the network.
Who's
Fuck
that?
you talking about? I'm racist because I said white dude. Where I'm from, we call white dudes white dudes. Sorry. See, I'm from Seattle. I grew up
Yeah,
with
I
white
didn't
dudes.
think that was racist. Like you said, a white dude. That
Nah,
I don't
but
think
see,
that's
this is what I'm
racist.
saying about this gaslighting shit. Oh, I'ma just call you racist. Man, come on, man. What you talking
Yeah,
about?
that I mean, it's a white guy or a
I
white
just
dude.
wait,
You know,
hold on. Since we here, I'm so racist that I did a fundraiser for a white family, right? They dealt with some little bullshit and got evicted. You know how racist I am? I did a fundraiser and let them keep
you
all the
said make
money.
make sense.
That's
You're
how
from
racist
Seattle.
I am, bro.
Hey, Patricia. This shit is funny. Yeah, Niles Reed. Hey, I didn't think it was racist, man. But you know, if somebody's
Yeah,
offended, you know, I
it does make
apologize.
sense that I'm from Seattle. Where are
You
you
know.
from? Why are you here? How'd you get here? This ain't this man. Hey man, hey, look, you could always hit the link and we can really talk because I'll absolutely bake you. Oh, you're racist. You said white dude. And you know what? I employ white dudes too. So tell your little brother, come get a job. Fuck wrong with you? No, I never said black people can't be racist. Ryan Jeffrey, you
He
more
said
racist than a hundred
you're more
yard
racist than
dash.
100-yard
Look at
dash.
how, like, see, bro, this what, man, I'm ignoring you. You're a goof troop ass
Ah,
bitch. You,
ah.
hey, look, you get up here to call somebody racist so you can spew your racism. Oh, yeah, the 100-yard dash is racist.
Let's see. Let's get back to these what do they call it?
Nobody's crying,
Policies.
bitch. Shut up.
Policies.
Oh, you're falling right into my trap. Nah, I'm in the trolling. You won't come up here. You don't want to talk.
Hey, that's what it's about. Pull up.
Yeah, pull up. Talking about
Hey,
I'm
I'll ring
falling
the
into
bell for
your
you.
trap.
I'll leave the
I'm
door
getting
open,
ready for
man.
work,
Just come on.
bitch.
Abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do her body. I act with women around our country.
Right, because if I want to have the kid and she doesn't, she can just go around the block and fucking delete the baby and come back home like nothing never happened, right? That's the right way.
Want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't.
That's the over exaggeration
Straight over
that I didn't
exaggeration.
like.
That's what I'm saying,
Let's
bro.
get it. Let's talk about the bras that's at the club pussy popping. Let's talk about them.
We all know that 90% of pregnancies are happening from sex, like from fucking. It's agreed, it's an understood thing. That's what we doing. We all know all that shit happened, but don't make the lowest percentage the poster child of why we here. What we doing with abortion, we don't want to be responsible for these lives we're creating across the board. Right? Like you're like, let's not make it seem every single day you're dealing with a 12-year-old coming into the abortion office. Oh yeah, my uncle raped me. Man, come on, man. That's not what's going on. I'm not saying it don't happen, but what they trying to do is say, oh, this makes up for all the other stuff. Nah, that's just like crimes in the black community. Yes, there's police brutality. Yes, there's a systemic thing going on where there's certain results happening in the community. Here's the bottom line. Black people are killing black people. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. So there's no need for me to look at systemic racism first, when really I need to work on my unity tools. I need to work on seeing the brotherhood in another brother rather than seeing him as an enemy. There could be all the police brutality in the world, but if Dr. Hood know when he see me, I'm gonna try to gun him down. I don't really know why I'm talking about police brutality right now. That ain't the issue. We always want to bait and switch. We just don't want to be responsible, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, now this was the best comment of the day. He said, blah blah 23. So many women just fuck. They mess around with shitty men, and then they want to find out a way to weasel out of their choices. Fuck off. Eliminate child support so they can stop peg spreading. Hey, listen. Eliminate child support. That's who I'll vote for. Eliminate child support.
Man,
let the men take care of their own kid. You can even give men primary custody to where we could hit these fucking women for child support. Fuck it. Give it to us. If we get the DNA, mandatory DNA tests, give the man primary custody. Fuck it. If you guys want to play like that, you know. Let's stop this bullshit. Kirk Page, hit the. Hey, you so dumb you can't even hit the link, man.
Man,
Kirk Page.
Hey, man, I know y'all don't want to hear this shit.
Through your profile,
mom, bro.
Man, let me get my guy in here, man. 7-8, man. Talk to us, man.
What's up with it, brothers?
What up?
Oh, man, we just up in here, man, loving it.
Yes, sir, man. Yeah, I just want to come through before I went live. I'm going live in a little while. Just want to come through.
Yeah.
What y'all cooking on the debate?
Yeah, we on this debate, man. You know, right now we're talking about the abortion situation, you know.
Yeah. That's wild.
And
bro.
You know, the way that, you know, everything with that. My stance, basically, you know, the man don't got no choice in shit. It's always what a fucking woman wants and shit. Like we already seen what happened to Jaheem's ass. Right. You know, put a woman first and all this bullshit. Like, if I want to have the kid and the woman don't want to have it, she could go behind my back, delete the fucking baby. You know, like what the fuck's up with that, man?
Y'all got to stop attacking Jaheem, bro.
Nah, fuck that.
Jaheem's that God. What you mean? Bro, Jaheem's the truth.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think my thing with the whole abortion situation is like I'm against abortion except for in cases of you know the great, you know what I'm saying? If somebody force themselves on the woman or something, I think that's ridiculous to make her force her to have somebody else's baby, like she ain't got no control of, like she gotta that's fine. But I think a lot of women are out here being real irresponsible, and they think that they can go and mess around with this one and that one, and then when something happens, they get pregnant. Now they want to delete the baby. That's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? My thing is this. I think I think every woman should be given. This is me what I would do if I'm the president. Every woman should be given a one free deletion. You got one deletion on your resume. After that, when you get that deletion, after that you get
one free one, man.
You got one free deletion, and after that you gotta get your tubes tied. You can't have no tubes. You can't have no more. You know what I'm saying? And I think that a lot of women might sound like they cool with that in the beginning, but as time go on and they ain't got no kids, you know, I think that's gonna affect people. And also what you talking about with the men having no rights stuff is crazy, because it's like you say, all right, if me and her lay down, she get pregnant, okay? Now, if I want the baby, she can go and delete the baby. because she don't want the baby. They say it's her body. I ain't got no rights to this. Yet, if I don't want the baby, and she do want the baby, now I'm on child support for 18 years. So my thing is, okay, if this chick gets a one free do-over, if y'all telling her, well, she made a mistake, you know, she don't want the baby, she can delete the baby. Okay, well, can I delete myself from paying child support? I made a mistake. See, men are held in this country to a higher standard because this gonna sound like it's male chauvinism and this and that, but this is just what how society works. We are held to a different standard because we are viewed to be more intelligent. Women are held to the standard of children. They never held to the responsibility of an adult. This is why you see these teachers, these female teachers, constantly getting caught messing with these little high school boys and stuff like that. Well, it's no real punishment for them.
Patricia, he on your ass, Patricia.
What happened, Patricia? What'd she say?
Nah, she in the chat, man. I'm just, showing love to the chat. You know what I'm saying? Salute everybody. Hit that like button.
Yeah. But that's how they just, man, it's the whole situation is goofy to me. And I feel like this: if you support a woman's right to choose, okay, and you feel like it's her body, and the government or no man should tell her what she can do with her body, cool, I'm with that 120%. All I'm asking you to do is stay the fuck out my business when I put that hole in the hole scroll. Stay the fuck out my business. If she can sell her body and she can give me all her money, you ain't got nothing to do with this. Stay the fuck out of it. Don't be calling me no trafficker or no weird ass shit like that. Me and her got to understand it, right? That's if you cool with letting her do what she want to do with her body. If she can delete babies, she can sell her pussy.
Patricia Oberbeck, she says statistics show that incest, rape, etc., is less than 1% of 1% of abortion cases. That's some stats right there, Yeah. Because that's really nothing. So why would Kamala Harris make a big deal out of it? That's what I'm saying. The gaslighting is ridiculous. Like, she damn near was so emotional, she was about to cry on the shit. Did you see it?
She does, bro.
Let me get this back up here, man. She was damn near about to cry, bruh.
Women like Kamala
provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that.
This is so fucking
13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you,
this
1% of 1%. Like, she could get the Oscar, for that performance right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. This is a body. This is a performance. This isn't based on facts, right? Because facts, we already know when we dealing with facts, we eliminate feelings. So we clearly just dealing with feelings tonight, and I understand that. Those are some things that we do. But come on, man, this is insane, bro. Where we're trying to make the 1% the majority. I wish that if that's what we were doing, man, I would be in a much better spot. If we would take the least common denominator and make that the poster child of shit.
Right, man.
This now listen, I could, I could just, y'all are familiar to me just by your energy. Man, y'all the type of dudes I probably couldn't bring a rapist in front of and say, let's talk. You think it's gonna be like, motherfucker, Who the fuck you think I am?
Yeah, for
You
real.
bring this dude to me and you want, yeah, nigga, you're suspect, right? And which is okay because I know that's how we are. But now we want to negotiate this shit. Oh, well, this situation. Nah, that's not what's going on because those type of situations that go on, we don't respect that. We don't negotiate with terrorists. You know, like at the end of the day, we already know what's really going on here. What's going on? We're not making good decisions collectively because they want to make it about women, women, women. Nah, us men, we're making bad decisions too. Right? And what you want the option of just saying, this ain't what I want. Cut it off at the legs. Man, that ain't right, bro. We shouldn't be able to do that, bro.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. But
But you know, Trump.
they
I thought Trump let her off the hook last night, bro. Like all the stuff we said, he was supposed to be on her helmet, man. Like he supposed to be snapping right back how he used to. I don't know. They didn't tame this motherfucker or something, man. Trump used to be a savage. You know
well,
what I'm
then
saying?
they knew he was gonna be combative. So they
Yeah,
knew that. She was there to poke the bear. I think
yeah,
he kind of held his own, like he kept his composure. Because that was her strategy to try to get
yeah,
his make insults and make an ass out of himself. That's what they wanted him to do. In
yeah.
my opinion. Of course, I don't know shit about fucking
But no, yeah,
politics.
you're right. I mean,
The fuck you
definitely,
don't know shit about politics.
it,
You
it
know.
was it was good. It was a good strategy on her end. But uh, my thing was like, I expected Trump to come back with more facts, like especially this abortion stuff that she talking about, the incest and all that stuff. Like he should have been the one with those stats to come back
Right.
with and say this and that, and he should have said, okay, so every time we had this discussion about abortion, y'all start talking about grape and incest, but we know that those are not the people who are mainly getting them, right? Those aren't the
Right.
people getting
They're
them. People
not
who are getting them,
abusing. They're abusing the,
right?
the the abortion. It's abuse. You know.
Yeah,
I know chicks that then had 5 of them. You
yeah,
know.
bro. Bro, abroad, bro. Tell you right now, I'm gonna say this on your joint. Abroad did me so filthy. I was a youngster too. I was like what, 19? She was older than me. She was like 29 or something, 30. But
This old fast ass nigga.
yo,
Goddamn.
but the broad did me so. I was, you know, I was green and shit. You know what I'm saying? I thought I knew everything, knew the game, but this bitch was laced up. She played the shit out of me. But look, but yeah, she had got pregnant by me and shit. This broad went and got an abortion, and I didn't even know she did it until one of her friends told me. One of her friends was like, "Oh yeah, I just feel like you need to know this. I hate to go behind her back, but you know this shit just kind of shady." She's like, "You need to stop having sex with her without condoms, cause she already deleted 2 of your babies." I'm like, "What you mean?" She's like, "Yeah, I went to the clinic with her twice." I'm like, so I'm trying to make these excuses up in my head. Well, maybe she messed with somebody else and she knew it was the other dude, baby, and that's why she did this. I'm trying to make all these lame excuses, right? Bruh, I charged the chick up with it. Mind you, I'm a youngster. I'm 19. I charged her up with it. She cried and confessed, like, yeah, I don't want to have no more kids, you know. And I'm like, so you just let me shoot the club up, and you out here deleting my babies? What's wrong with it?
Damn.
Twice she did it. Yeah, man, bruh. Yeah, that's the first time in my life.
So she wasn't even gonna tell you,
bro. She didn't tell me nothing, bro. She didn't tell. Her friend told me. Yeah, yeah. I gave her.
Got to be more careful.
You got to, bro. I was young, emotional, silly little youngster, and I hit that bitch with the how you can booyah. Made her ass fly over that car. Then I left. Felt bad about it later, but fuck it. You know what I'm saying? You can't be out here deleting kids.
Yeah, man, that's not the right way to go, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the right way. Let me see what happened. Okay, let me get her in there.
When Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade. As President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came to your
Well, I won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50, essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even.
See, Trump is. Hey, man, Trump is an asshole, man. She's not, because like a guy like me, I don't know that. But he breaks it down. Like, she's not going to get the vote, especially the 50-50 and, all of it. Like, she's not going to get the vote, bro. And now she's not going to rebut that, but she'll rebut some other shit. She'll have a rebuttal for all this other shit. But what about that? But about you not getting the vote? Because if you already know you're not going to get the vote, right? Like if we talking about dogs, and I tell you guys, you and Chef to put up on this breeding, and I can't even get the breeding done. The fuck are we talking about? Why am I gaslighting you guys, giving you guys false hope, thinking that, oh yeah, when she does this, she's gonna overturn this and she's gonna be able to do this. But the way the shit is stacked, she ain't even gonna be able to get the vote anyway.
Crazy.
So what do we, so now how fast is that car rolling now? How fast is your car going now that you can't even put a tire on the motherfucker? Come on, man. David Townsend, vote for policy, not prom queen. Hey, that's a good comment, man.
I mean, yeah,
So
but
it's just talk.
policy is relative to what they saying to us. Like a lot of these policies, like pull them up. A lot of this shit that these people stand for, pull it up. You know me, bro. I just be bored and just be looking shit up. All these questions I be having, I be already having answers to it. But we just gotta pull up. It's politics, bro. Over promise, under deliver. But in the moment, we vote for we vote for what we hope to happen, not what we know's coming, bro. These people are incredible people, bro.
Yeah, nah, that's what's up.
Reminds me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been, part of the reason they lost, to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans.
See,
Yeah,
this is
man.
the
You see
this
what
is the analytics. These
see
are the analytics in my book. It resonates with me. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, maybe I just want to see like the results in the
man, have
progress
y'all
because I
seen
could
what
say
these
that,
student loans is looking like, man?
bro. I could say that. Fuck it, everything's free, you know. But
Nah.
if you can't make that happen, then what are we talking about?
If everything's free, how we got an economy? How we gonna pay for Buck City Kennels, nigga? If everything is free.
You know.
Man, this is wild, bro.
So hit the like button. You know where you guys at, man. It's the Wake and Bake show where people actually come here and roll up their weed and listen to us talk shit, man. So this is where we at. 7-8 Sports TV going on in a little bit. Go make sure you go check that out. There's all these brainiacs in here. You guys know how to spell sports TV. 7-8 Sports TV. That's the easy shit right there, bro.
Yes,
So
sir.
get over there, subscribe. You know what it is. We got 172 in the building. Let's get that 300-400 like we had a minute ago, man. You know, let's get it in. Hit the like button. Let's crank it up.
They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress, do it. But the fact is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Like what? See, it's the personifying for me. What you're putting her through. You are policy. I always thought individuals were individuals and policies and amendments and law. But what we're saying now is that Dr. Hood's viewpoint, you are the result. You're putting her through that, right? So if right now that is the case for somebody, it's not really the fault of the state. It's not the fault of the system. This is what you personally are putting them through. I like this. I like this. I like the wordplay, bro. This is smart.
Believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body, and that is why in where this issue has been on the ballot in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I have to respond. Another lie. It's another lie.
Yeah, see? And I like how he was just coming in because she thinks, look at her, man.
Look her face. Look her face.
Man, look at her fucking face, man.
She like the nerve of you.
She's on some bull. She just seemed like a woman that's hiding something. Why you trying to fool us? Don't fool us. We the American people. If you're the woman for the job, you stepped up to be the woman for the job. You know, I hate that all my years, you know, I thought this presidential shit, you know, I thought it was like this, you know, the drums and the band and shit, you know what I'm saying? I just thought this shit was not a fucking joke, bro. I did. I
Dog and
believed that
pony show, bro.
in this shit. You know, it's like finding out Santa Claus isn't real. I found out this shit isn't real.
Yeah.
You know. Now with Obama, I'm a black guy. Everybody listening, salute to all the black guys because they got mad when we say white guys, right? But as a black guy, when I saw Obama win the election, that didn't make me feel like I could be president because I knew that I wasn't as smart as that motherfucker. I wasn't. I wasn't as well spoken. I wasn't nowhere near, not even in the same realm, right? But when this Donald Trump guy won, I'm gonna tell you, that opened up my eyes to a lot of shit, because it ain't about how smart you are and book literate and all this shit, dog. If
He's
you
not
can get up here and pop that shit and talk about this shit the way it comes across and resonates with people, shit, I think you got a puncher's chance at least,
But
Hey,
he's not, look though, he's not the first one. With social media, it's we in the age of information. We finally paying attention. But think about this, bro. The greatest speeches you've ever heard, I bet you the person who said them didn't write them, bro. This ain't nothing new, bro.
Yeah.
Nah,
They
but
hire
Trump ain't
people for
nobody
that.
writing this shit.
Hey,
Nobody's writing this shit. What he's saying.
y'all ever heard of the Motown machine?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay. Hey, talk to the people about the Motown machine, bro, and what that is.
You talking about from Motown Records? All the writers they had? You talking about?
Yeah, hell yeah, from Motown Records, exactly.
Yeah. They had Smokey Robinson, a whole team of motherfuckers who used to write some of the greatest hits our parents and shit grew up listening to. They had a team of motherfuckers, and some of them songs were meant for other people. They didn't show up to the studio, so they gave it to somebody else, and it still became a classic. All kind of shit like that, man.
Yeah. Nah, but that's what I'm saying. Trump's not a part of that. Trump ain't nobody. Man, I'm not about to read off this script, man, and do all this bullshit, man. That's how Trump is. He don't even want no script. All right, I'll let you guys. We're gonna sit here and talk about some of the talking points. I'm gonna maybe write a couple things down right here, but let me wing it, man. And I like that personality, bro. I like that. And you're not always gonna be perfect. See, people are looking for this perfect lie. That's what we love, man. We'd rather have a perfect fucking lie, dog, than a partly cloudy truth, bro.
Yeah. That's facts, bro. The lie, as long as the lie make you feel good, that's what people like. I learned that a while ago, bro.
Dang.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you listen, man. People is funny, men and women is funny like that. I used to think it was just women was nutty when it came to that. No, some of these dudes is the worst, man. They have people love what make them feel good. You know what I'm saying? I had a homeboy, his like we in his backyard barbecuing. His girl supposed to been back. You know what I'm saying? We done got drunk. She was supposed to went to the store, got some bread, some hamburger buns and stuff, right? She been gone for hours, bro. We back there, we drunk. We done ate all kind of food without the bread. Then she come back 4 hours later. She drunk. And this dude just, he's like, damn, babe, you been going for a minute. She's like, yeah, I had stopped and was talking and we got busy. I got sidetracked. I'm like, bro. Look, bro, I ain't trying to be in your business, homie. But ain't no way my wife is going to be gone for 4 hours and come back and drunk talking about I got sidetracked talking to somebody. Bro, you niggas.
Wow.
Niggas want to be lied to, fam.
Wow.
They don't want to hear no truth. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to accept the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. And that's when I realized, like I said, I used to think women was like that. But until I started paying attention to a lot of these dudes be coming on in there capping, bro, lying. And they be on all these little forums and what you call them podcasts. They be on all these podcasts talking about chicks and this and that and acting like they some stone cold players. Man, these dudes be at home getting what you say. I remember Buck, you said something a long time ago. it had me rolling to this day. You said that most of these dudes is an argument away from being homeless.
I'm telling you.
That's the funniest shit I ever heard in my life, bro.
I'm telling you. You walking on eggshells in that bitch.
Man, that shit funny
For
as
real.
fuck.
For real. You know, that's some real shit, brother. Hey, believe it or not. What they say, believe it or not.
Yeah, yeah.
I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's
the
problem.
question? Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
See, now she's talking about the veto. What does the veto have to do with this?
Yep.
Anybody? Where's Patricia? Hey, Patricia, you gonna have to come on up one day. You ain't gotta come up today. You're gonna come up one day and chop it up with us. What the fuck? Why would she deflect right here? Why? We've been talking about body language and everything. Like,
She don't want to
I've
commit.
seen lion ass females have this same expression on their face.
Bro,
I
this
know,
why I
I
was
know
mad.
the body language, bro.
This what made me mad, bro, is that he letting her do this. And I understand he gotta be careful not to come across as like he bullied this woman, but like
Because he'll lose the woman vote
Right.
right away.
right. Cause
If he barks at her one time, it's done
Yeah.
for him. You know that dog. You bring that dog home. If that motherfucker bark at my wife one time, that motherfucker gotta go.
or a growl at your kids is over for him.
You see what I'm
So-
saying?
But
So
yeah.
he's on eggshells too. So that's why I give him credit for just going in there with this lion, or this lioness, right?
Yeah.
Answer the question, would you veto?
You could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just
And then if she is black, and I know black women can be real snarly, man, with their mouth, man. You know, straight up. My
Yeah.
mom, sisters, don't get in a cussing match with them.
Trump should have his people should have let me I could have gave him some good prep for this one. I know how to get on there. He could have walked her in her own trap, man. He got hit her where it hurt. Get her real defensive. Because I didn't like the fact that I feel like Trump was on defense most of the night. He should have been on the offense. Like this chick has been in the White House for the last 3.5 years. She acting like Trump been in the White House for the last 4 years. Last 8 years or something. She acting like Trump's still the president. She's attacking him, and he on the defense. I'm like, bro, what is you letting her put you on the defense for? Man, stand on her neck, man. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. It is what it is, man. And notice she didn't answer that question about whether she was black or not. She refused to answer that question. But black folks still gonna go out there and vote and pretend like, oh, because she looked like us and vote for her. Mind you, these are the same ninjas running around talking about they not like us. Oh, the tethers and they foreign blacks and they from the islands. They ain't like us. But when it comes to Kamala Harris, now magically we all unified again. Man, these monkeys, man, I ain't got time for these ninjas. None of them. Hey, who is this guy, Miss Gemini? Listen, why don't you come up here and click the link? Why you keep talking about what somebody else needs to do, stay on topic? Come up here and teach us how to stay on topic, Miss Gemini. Come teach us how to
Niggas
stay on
wasn't
topic.
saying stay on topic last night, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing we know, when you go down the rabbit hole of shit, you might end up anywhere with it. It'd be amazing how people try to forget we're people.
What
Like
up, babe?
every time you talk, you just stay on topic. Come on now.
Look, she mad. She all in chat. You sound dumb. See, this what they do. They resort to insults. When they can't, when they won't.
You're dumb. You're gay.
Yeah. That's what they do. They insult you. That's the number one go-to rule. You dumb. They question your sexuality, question your manhood, question your intelligence, all of that. When the link is right there in the chat, all you gotta do is come up here and talk to us about the debate. And of course, we're using analogies. Of course, we're relating to what they're talking about to our normal lives, because that's what you're supposed to do in order to make a rash decision on who you're voting for, right?
Right, cats don't be wanting no pushback, gang. They don't want nobody thinking. Like one of the most dangerous things that we could have is a thinking society, bro. Even if they sound dumb, I'm not just accepting what you tell me, and that's what's dangerous, brother.
Right.
Look at the governor, former governor of Virginia.
Now go ahead, Buck.
What happened?
Now go ahead, play it.
No, what happened? You know, I'm here for the shit.
I'm laughing at the Gemini cat. Look, we just called him out and then say, I said nothing about your manhood. Are you gay? See? That's what they do. That's their go-to. Typical black woman, bitter black woman mumble.
Are you gay? Same motherfucker who's an advocate for
I'm gonna drop that link because somebody's gonna have the balls to call in. That's what I've been waiting on. That's gonna make the content just that much better. Because it's gonna be somebody coming up here popping off at the mouth, and it's gonna go viral. I guarantee you.
Ms. Gemini, I'm gonna ask you a question. How can I be gay if I put cock to your mama every night? How? Is your mama a man? Ask your mama if I'm gay. These are the questions that are very, very important. Okay. And not only do I put cock to your mama, she like it in the butt sometimes. I take it right out of the butt, put it right in her face. She clean it right on up. She clean it right up. No tissue involved, not necessary with your mama. That mouth of hers is something serious. She's something serious and vicious. I'm trying to tell you something good. Ask your mama. Call her right now and say, you know 78 Sports TV? Yeah, I know him. Watch. Hit her up now and call her. Why don't you click the link?
78 Sports TV, man. Look. You guys better watch out, man. Coming over here with that, man. Let me see.
The governor of Virginia said we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills called cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border?
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country. Look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
But the people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. You know, this is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
Thank you, because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people whose were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire them. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president, in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military.
Police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you
fair use
is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. You know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down. You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her, put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes. But it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in. All over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse
President
me,
Harris,
the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud. Just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Fair use. Hit the like button.
So rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear, where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election.
President
They're
Trump,
fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people
Vice
to
President
stop
Harris,
him.
thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy
President
with a fake
Trump,
Russia investigation
We do have a lot
that went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name-calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your
Well, first of all, I
response?
wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your gun, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish, one thing so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead, we'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out of it. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that
for
we
the
have to get
environment
to.
that
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out of the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America, they're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world, and crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just ask you,
David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle, they went into Seattle, they took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask you.
You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi, but I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, The former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this. You talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Right. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed. Mr. Those President, people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it. You came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
That.
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 6 cases in front of many judges, many of them
no
Republican.
No judge looked at it.
And said
they said we didn't have standing.
Fraud.
That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The President of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it, I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election this way. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did, in fact, lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? Because you need Trump back as president. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I think we're going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would...
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel. Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on national security, including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it. because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way, has
President
paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia. Welcome back to this historic ABC News presidential debate tonight. We're going to continue here, and I want to turn to the war in Ukraine. We're now 2.5 years into this conflict. Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? We have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
Your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also, as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and please, I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strong men instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief. And the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen, he's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen, for years we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. By saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not again appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations
thank
with the
you.
Taliban.
So if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words. So I'm
I don't
asking,
know. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was he owned land, he owned buildings, And he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you.
I want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country, one who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction, to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life, to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She
please.
has a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's
Thank you,
what
Mr.
her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
respond
President
because
Trump,
the
President
former
Trump,
president has said
no, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry.
I
We're
just
going
need
to move on,
respond
Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this
multiple
is
times.
now your
Yes.
3rd time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare. Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Correct. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And we said that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up. They wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones, too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. What we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that costs our people, our population, less money, be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not-too-distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run health care system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private health care options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay.
Hit the like
I just need
button.
to respond to a previous
It's
point
free.
that
It don't
the
cost a
former
thing.
president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said, at the time because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president, and we, over the last 4 years, have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed, for the first time, Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it.
Vice President Harris,
in terms of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a lot of...
You made a mistake. At number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to give.
President
People are
Trump-
paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said the climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president, in 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
It didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her.
She had to put that one in there. She had to put that in there. Put a T1 if it's Donald Trump that won. put a K1 if it's Kamala Harris, or H1. How about an H1 if Kamala Harris won? I just want to get a quick poll from the audience. We both heard him scratch and claw. Mike Tyson, salute, brother. T1. Okay. It's a lot of T1s popping up, man. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all for participating in the stream. Eric Watson, I see you, brother. What up? Hey, the link, you can't hit the link, but you can definitely go copy the link and copy and paste it into your address bar, or just type it in the way it looks on there, and you can definitely pop up and voice your opinion. Appreciate everybody popping up at the stream, You know, we've been hearing it. Hey, okay, K1. T. Carroll, there's a K1 in there. Okay. Miss Wright, Harris 1. Okay. You know, it was some good points. My thing is, you know, I'm not trying to be selfish, but I have to make my vote for me and my family and my people or whatever. I'm on somebody just asked about why the gas price is so high. I'm more on that. I'm more on the inflation. I'm more on small businesses, different things, different ventures. You know, I think I'm more I want to hear more about that. That's why I came to it. You know, I'm like, okay, what are they going to do? I mean, we got all these other issues in the world. That's what makes it a unique situation to run for an office so big. But I mean, we only can resonate with the stuff that affects us. You know, the taxes being so high, everything's so high, inflation, you know, that's not helping out my bottom line at all, you know. So hey, you know, hit that like button.
Government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president.
I don't know if the prosecutor is the perfect job for this. You know, I don't know. We need the prosecutor in office. You know, I don't want to, you know, everybody's going to be getting on my head talking about you know, all about men and, you know, I'm misogynistic and everything. But, you know, I don't know. That's why I'm having this stream. I want to, you know, enjoy the company of my peers and, you know, talk about these topics. Oh, JJ Reed 009. There's some K1s in there. There's some K1s. I see some T1s. You know, but I see more T1s. I'm not gonna say. I mean, maybe the Kamala, maybe they're not hitting the like button. Maybe, you know, Lee Parham, H1, Bright, Cynthia. Let's get it. Let's get it. Adrian, Darnell, T1. Why Wait Kennels, my brother. What up? Get it in, T1. You know. Hit the subscribe because we talk about everything. We're not just gonna beat this dead horse of a presidential election. You know, we're gonna be jumping on something else. You know, we're gonna be talking about Nick Cannon. We're gonna be talking about, you know, everything that's going on in the community, all over. We're gonna talk about everything. So get up in the building. Get up in the building. Captain Orange. What up? Miss Gemini 81. Salute. You said Mama Dog Digger. Charlie T1. Hannick 7879. Salute to you. Salute. Hope everybody's having a good time, man. Rolling up. You know, it's the morning time. This is what we do on this channel, Wake and Bake. You know, this debate is it's interesting.
President for all Americans. and focus on what we do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have war going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center.
Hey, you know, it was a good one. It was a good one. It was a good one. You know, we got to talk about these topics. You know, it's important that we come together and discuss these things because it's, you know, the abortion thing. I'm still kind of weighing on that because I just don't see how basically men don't have any say so over that topic. Like basically when they're talking about abortion, they just want men to leave the room. And I don't think that's right. You know, I don't think the child support situation is right. I don't. You know, the numbers show, you know, it's not making guys better fathers because it's child support. It's making guys more resentful for devious, irresponsible actions. You know, Patricia said it was 1% of 1%. 1% of 1% of the women that have incest or grape cases, you know, go in for abortions and stuff. You know, it's like 1% of one, you know, that's barely none. If in case you want to know what that is. In case you want to know. Okay. And there's getting thousands and thousands of abortions every single day, thousands of abortions, deletions. Okay. Can a man decide? Can I, as a man, decide if I want to keep the child or not? What if I want to keep it? And then this woman can just go on her lunch break, take off early from work, and she can just go down and delete my baby. And there's nothing, it doesn't matter, right? I want to speak for the guys that have been paying child support for 2.5 years on a child that's not even theirs. What happens? He said there's too many dudes out here who want to be dads and fathers. Nah, for real. For real. You know? Let's talk about killing this child support thing, for the rich or whoever. Why are guys, and no, I'm not making no kind of money. I'm broke. Okay? But why are guys, just because they're in the NFL and they get a divorce from a fucking woman that just wants to leave the relationship just because, right? She just wants to file a divorce. Okay? Why are these guys forced to pay tens of 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s of thousands of dollars each month for a single child? Why? And then these same women get out of that relationship and go get impregnated by another guy. And then can come up in the same court with the same rules and crush this guy too. All right. So what, they send me papers and stuff saying that this child's mine, and then the child's not mine. Oh, so that's nothing? That's nothing. So you can just say a child is mine, get me to take care of this baby, fucking up my life, stressing and shit over some shit that I don't even have to stress about, and the child is not even mine. There's no repercussions. They'll close your child support case and open up another one on another guy's, and he'll be ordered to pay all of everything that your ass was supposed to pay after you lost your license and everything. Why aren't we talking about these issues? I know we want to talk about climate change and all of that global warming, and that those issues are very important, right? But why is it like $6 for a small ass jar of a jug of orange juice or something? $7. It's like $7, $7.50. Why are the eggs so goddamn high? Right? Why are the bone-in thighs? Not the boneless, skinless, and the tenderloins, and what I'm saying, not that shit. Why are the bone-in thighs so much? Why? There you go. FHL. Eggs going up in price again. For sure, man. And it's okay. We can't even go buy a used car for our kids because used cars are up. It's cheaper to keep your car. If you got a bucket, it's all of a sudden cheaper to just go fix that bucket than it is for you to go get a whole nother car, because unless you're coming with that bag, you're not even going to get something halfway decent. You can't get something halfway decent nowadays for a decent price. Yeah, Captain Orange. Used cars are $20K. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Whatever happened to spending $2,200 and $2,500 for a good car? $3,600, $42. And you get you a nice car. 6 racks. You're riding something. You'll be around for a couple years. Nowadays, you spend $6,000 on a car, you're lucky to get something with under 200,000 miles on it. You'll be lucky. You'll be lucky. This car is at its last limb. Why? And what are we going to do about it? That's what's important. And is this a bunch of gaslighting? Is it a bunch of lies? Because I heard Kamala, she was backed into a couple corners, and for a prosecutor, I don't think she handled herself very well. I think she was very combative. I think her facial expression showed a lot, that she was uncomfortable. if I had to weigh it out, you know, yeah. Nah, man. You know, it's a good debate though. At the end of the day, I wouldn't change anything, you know. Hit the like button, you know, hey, this channel we go in, you know, I get people to call in, you know, it's the winter time's coming, fall time, winter time. It's just definitely gonna be somewhere. You know, we're gonna be talking about Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, you know, we're gonna be talking about that, all the whole the gaslighting. You know, it's a lot of gaslighting that goes on all over. Okay. So hit the like and subscribe. You know, we definitely going in. This is definitely the channel you can go to and get some content. We got content over here. Let me see. He said Joey said somebody said Kamala had an earpiece in. Wow. Woo. Hey, I don't know, man. Hey, Adrian, man, appreciate you for subscribing. Appreciate you for subscribing. You know, we got a lot of stuff going on here. Buck City Kennels, you know, we talk about dogs a lot. The pit bull terrier, the best breed on the planet. You know, the mislabeling of the breed. We talk about that a lot. But I'm not gonna, if it's a hot topic, you can believe you can come here. We're covering that shit. You know, we had a couple other shows that we did. Let me see. We got on drug culture the other day. I got on the Judge Mathis situation. You know, that was hilarious. RIP Rich Homie Quan. We got on the Rich Homie Quan situation. So, you know, we're real diverse. We're cooking on a whole bunch of different things today. We over here on this presidential election, you know. We on this presidential election thing, you know, in this debate. So we on politics today. We'll probably go up a little bit later. I like my morning times. It gives me, you know, a chance to kind of roll up and just, you know, enjoy the company of the best chat on the web, on the internet. You know what I'm saying? She said, still waiting on her to answer the first question. What was the first question again? I forgot. Oh, Lynn. Okay, you saw the microphone. Yeah. You know, I don't know. I hear that it's a landslide. I hear that Kamala is actually leading. I have not checked. Maybe you guys can fact check for me. If Kamala Harris is winning the election, or if it's because for the last few days, just what I've been hearing in the air is that Kamala is going to be the new president. And even on the media and everything, I know how they gaslight and everything. If I had to base it on this chat, it'll look like Trump's going to win. But I'm telling you, it's a different temperature outside of this right here. You know, these group of individuals that are checking this stream out. You know, I told you to put the H1, the K1 or the H1 if it's Kamala for the win. Put the T1 if it's Donald Trump for the win of the debate. It was a good one. Let me see. They were talking a little bit at the end of it. T1, Dustin K. Okay, Trump. FHL has Trump. T1, Alicia Williams. Salute everybody coming in. Please hit the like and subscribe button, because I definitely want to see these faces when I come back. I'm gonna have them wrenches ready when I see y'all pop back up. Lute and Cruel. Okay. Trump 24. Yes, sir.
Good night.
And that is the end of the first presidential debate between these two candidates, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Also likely the only debate we will see between these two candidates. We have been watching alongside our full team of analysts and, of course, each of our reporters who covers the campaigns. Laura Barone-Lopez has been reporting on the Harris campaign and Lisa Desjardins on the Trump campaign. I want to begin with you two before we turn to everyone else here. And let's just get your quick takeaways. The candidates' work here is over now. The surrogates and the campaigns take over. What are you hearing from them in terms of how they saw the debate and their takeaways? Laura?
Well, Harris's campaign is feeling really good about this debate. They feel as though they did a number of things that she wanted to do going in, which was goad him, and she did that on quite a few fronts. She did that on abortion. She did that on election denialism, and they said all.
Goat him. What does goat him mean? Can somebody put in the chat what the fuck goat him means?
So that in the first hour of the debate, 71% of the grassroots donations that they were getting were from women. So they feel as though some of her strongest moments were when she was going after him on abortion and when she was talking about those personal stories of women who were having miscarriages and unable to get the care that.
No, those extraneous situations, that's 1% of 1%. Okay? Those are the situations that she spent so much and she got so emotional about. I wish I could just go right back to that moment. You know, she got so emotional about that situation. You know, we're talking about a small group of people in which Trump has he didn't give any pushback about those small situations. So I don't know, man. Maybe she was watching a different debate than I was watching.
That they needed, and they also feel that based on the undecided voters that they were tracking live during the debate, that the campaign was tracking, that another strong moment for her was her response when Donald Trump was questioned about her Black identity and her saying that racism is a pattern for him and that America doesn't want this anymore, as well as her response to him on election denialism and January 6th. They said that ranked really well with the undecided voters.
Lisa, we knew that the Harris strategy was going to be to try to goad President Trump to going off script. What's the Trump campaign saying about some of
The
those
Trump
moments?
campaign knew that too. Former President Trump knew that. I will tell you, I have not heard from my Trump campaign sources, some of whom usually do text me back in situations like this. So that's a sign. The Trump campaign did put out an official statement declaring that Trump was the winner of this debate. There's been a lot of response when I posted that on social media, people saying they don't see it that way. But let's talk about other Republicans in Congress. I just got this from a Republican Senate source. They want to take back the Senate. They are very much in reach of doing that. Wrote me, I was in pain watching it. Imagine what Nikki could have done, talking about Nikki Haley. Trump just took the bait and missed the argument. When Vice President Harris talked about, for example, Wharton economists from his alma mater criticizing his economic plan, and then the size of his crowds really got under his skin, and you could see his tone and demeanor changing. Now, what Republicans in Capitol Hill thinks really.
See, that's why I think it's a bunch of bullshit. Like, what's more important? Who got up under whose skin, or what's going to help the people? That's what I'm here for. So I took it a different way. But if they're looking at that, who gets under whose skin, and if it's that tedious, because that's what it is. Or if you're just going to debate me based on, this is what you're going to try to do, get under my skin. To me, that shows signs of immaturity. If that's what you're going to do.
It probably doesn't matter. What matters is undecided voters. And we've been following voters throughout this campaign. We talked about it during the last debate. One of them, Zach Horn from Pennsylvania, Republican undecided voter, texted me this. He said, I've been moving toward Harris. Tonight's debate further confirmed that move toward Harris. He said, I am looking for someone to build a foundation of civility. Harris offers that. Trump does not. He says, tonight I could see her as a commander-in-chief. That's a big deal.
Well, let's bring in our panel of experts. We've got Amy Walter of the Cook Political Report with Amy Walter, Democratic strategist Amisha Cross, and Republican strategist Kevin Madden. Amisha, there was a question heading into this debate about how much Kamala Harris, the degree to which she would engage directly with Donald Trump, and how much would she really speak beyond the debate stage directly to the American people. She did both.
Yeah, absolutely. Kamala Harris had a high ceiling to clear and a very delicate balance because she is a part of the current administration. But she was also able to not only set herself apart, but to lean in on the policies that matter the most to the American people. She talked about the economy. She talked about the middle class. She talked about housing. She talked about women's reproductive rights. But she also attacked Trump hardcore. She went after him on statements about January 6th, what he didn't do and what he should have done. She went after him on a lot of the rhetoric that he's utilized over time, in large part the divisiveness, the darkness, the lack of a path forward, the way that he's trying to take America back. And she hit him hard on his own criminality. For him to start, radicalizing and talking about the tropes that he's issued in about migrants, but then to slam him down about the things that he's currently facing. I thought that was a really, really hard hit.
Kevin, your assessment of how the former president.
But she, a lot of, when I hear these responses, they're not like genuine and neutral. Like that woman got all dressed up just to get up there and pander to Kamala. That's what I heard. There was a couple little points there. You could look at it. I was kind of in and out. I'm not going to, get into it too much. But, I mean, come on, man. You just can't pander to somebody and think, that's the right answer, man. Come on. You wasn't going to say nothing good about Trump. No way. I got to sift through the haters to get to the meat and potatoes of this shit, bro. I'm a guy. I come from the hood. I'm trying to learn this political shit, bro. We all in here to learn this shit together. At the end of the day, no matter where you come from, we all got to live in this world together, right? I don't need to see somebody that's dressed up in all of this just telling me a bunch of filler. Call the debate like you saw it. If you saw something good that Trump did, say it. If you saw something good that Kamala did, say it. And if you saw something bad that they both did, point it out. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear somebody that just gets up here for somebody. Like that's your homie getting up here talking. I don't want to hear nobody's homie. I want to hear you guys in the chat. That's why we're here, right? Because you guys ain't going to lose no sleep over your opinion, and neither am I, right? I'm going to say what the fuck I want to say. I don't give a shit who gives a fuck about it, right? I'm not trying to offend nobody. I'm not trying to intentionally disrespect anybody, right? But hey, if you step in the Thunderdome, this is what happens. You put yourself on these big platforms. This is tomatoes and spaghetti, bro. That's all we see.
Did tonight.
Look, usually at these debates, I have like a very complex analysis, right? Multi-layered analysis. I think mine is very simple here. This was a clear case of a very clear strategy beating no strategy. The Harris strategy here was so apparent from the beginning, which is connect with swing voters on every single issue that matters to them as best she can. Housing, cost of childcare. I think the abortion issue, which of course we know is important to a lot of suburban women that are going to decide this election. Also, bait Trump into talking about himself and relitigating his past grievances. Trump took that bait every single time. And he didn't connect on a lot of issues. He did probably his best on immigration, but I will tell you, I think for a lot of voters out there, it was less relevant to their experience, and it was more about Trump being agitated and making it more about Joe Biden and what Joe Biden did wrong. So it just felt like there were a lot of lost opportunities here for Trump to really fill in the blanks with a lot of voters about why Kamala Harris would be sort of out of the mainstream. And instead, I think what you're going to see now is a strategy of, and we're seeing a strategy of blaming the moderators for sort of putting a thumb on the scale when it came to fact checks. And I just don't think that is going to connect. We got to remember, we're in like essentially what is a European version of a snap election. And the compressed time schedule means that any advantage right now is really going to make a difference. And I think right now you have to say advantage Harris with swing voters.
Yeah. Which is interesting because Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, you could argue, Amy, both came into tonight's debate with the same goal, which is to try to find any edge they could to change the dynamics of this razor-thin race? I saw you shaking your head when Kevin was talking about Donald Trump's unforced
So it's razor thin. Okay.
errors and then missed opportunities.
Right. So this was also about trying to fill in the blanks for somebody who's not as well known, and that's Kamala Harris. And I think both sides have been saying this for a while now. It's both a risk and an opportunity to not be as defined as the vice president is. The opportunity for Trump in this was to fill in those blanks, attach her to the Biden presidency and to some of her past statements. He did that, but in a very scattershot way. I wrote down the first time he said Harris is Biden was 10:24 p.m. So it took over. Yeah,
exactly.
It was an hour into it. Harris, from the very beginning, was on offense and making him the incumbent. When we talk about, voters wanting to see a change, she talked about turning the page. What is this election going to
Talking about turning the page, not turning the page because you're in there. See, what he resonated with me is that you got the opportunity. You've been in here 3.5 years. You have done nothing. Things are worse. I'm sorry. I believe things are worse in these last 4 years. They're worse. So when you put the same team together and you try to run those same plays, they're not going to work. That's what I'm thinking, just as a strategist, right? You're trying to run the same play. It's a tight football game. It's a good football game, but you're running the same plays. You're not fooling anybody. You're not making progress.
to be about? I'm the one that's turning the page. He's the one back on grievance. So she did what she wanted to do. To Kevin's point, she converted on the strategy that she had put forward. He was supposed to go in there and make this connection between Biden and Harris, make her look out of the mainstream. He was not as strong on that, in part because he was spending so much time either defending himself or, as folks have pointed out, relitigating past grievances.
Well, Lisa, to that point, and Amy's mentioning the issues here, like two of the strongest issues for former President Trump are the economy and immigration. And after the first set of questions on the economy, it was really the immigration issue. He returned to again and again and again. He really didn't come back to some of those economic points that are relatively strong for Republicans.
Well, he told you that the illegal immigration is destroying the economy. He said that. And so that part might resonate with somebody that really knows the deal. It's not really, trying to do all the bullshit. Okay. It's like, if I'm going to go to this house and get it, this way, and then you're going to be packaging it all up, making it look all pretty and shit. But I know I'm getting the same shit. So I might as well just go here and I won't have to deal with all the packaging.
It is interesting that Vice President Harris invited people to go to a Donald Trump rally, because I will say that watching him at many rallies, his argument on immigration in his rallies is more cohesive. It's easier to get your hands around than what he laid out tonight in this debate. It was fractured. He was sort of pulling at headlines that he had heard and didn't seem to understand, versus arguing a big picture about a border in crisis. He really wasn't able to make his own best argument, I think, on immigration tonight. He said a couple times, but when you listen to his remarks outside of this, usually you hear different kind of, like I said, more well-strung together arguments. Now, I will also say one question we've all had is also about progressives and enthusiasm on that side. And I am in touch with my goddaughter, who's a college student. I'm getting texts that she's sending out saying that some skeptical progressive students, at least one that she knows, was actually endeared watching Kamala Harris tonight. And so that's also positive news for that campaign.
I want to get Laura's take, too, on the Harris campaign response to some of the points they wanted to work in tonight.
Yeah, I think that to Kevin's point, Kamala Harris was able to really paint Donald Trump in a way that Joe Biden wasn't previously, even though he tried to, which is this is the extreme candidate. And she made that argument over and over again, whether it was on immigration, whether it was on January 6th and rule of law, talking a lot about how he.
But why didn't she talk about how they've failed the country? I see this panel is straight up Kamala, Kamala, Kamala. According to the chat, I mean, we would be delusional. I would be delusional. You guys would be delusional. Everybody that's going for Trump said that Trump won the debate, because according to these people, right? And I'm just wishful thinking. No, I didn't compare deleting the child support. I just said it's all fucked up, Miss Gemini. Look, hey, you know, I'm not comparing it once again. I just think the child support shit is fucked up. You're deleting it. If we can't choose who the fuck has the baby and who doesn't, we can't. Men have no choice in that. I don't have no choice at all. Even if I want the baby, even if I say, yeah, I'm gonna give the baby $1 million a month, you know, for the rest of his life, you know what I'm saying? I have no choice. That woman can delete that baby at any time. So if you give women all this choice and everybody wants to be equal and shit, why do men get the short end of the stick all the time? That's all I'm saying when I compared the two. It wasn't nothing that I was trying to say it had a direct comparison, because it doesn't, you know. But hey, man, look, the good thing is that we will be back so that you guys can definitely weigh in. The comments are still here. Go back to the video. Go to my channel, Buck City Kennels Live, and subscribe to that joker. And get up. Let's get up. Let's continue this in the comments. You know, let's continue this in the comments. And if one of the threads get big enough, that'll be definitely a topic of discussion on this channel. I promise you. You dig? Anyway, you know, it was a good one. It was a good one. Glad everybody pulled up. Whoever did, hit the like and subscribe. Support the channel. You know, we just need the algorithm to love us like they be loving everybody else. You know, we need that good algorithm, that good feed. We got that good talk, and we got a lot of people that want to pull up and talk that. If Kamala wins the election, I fully lost respect for America. Bamboo, man. Salute to you for coming through. Yeah, man. Everybody that pulled up, man. Salute to y'all. All my Bulldog family. It's been a great one. And I'll see you on the next one. I promise.